What's up, everyone, and welcome to Coffee with Ola. Today, with one of my heroes, none other than John Petrucci of Dream Theater. And here he is, right in front of my face. I can't believe it.
Hey, what's up, Ola? How are you?
I'm so good right now. I'm so good. I've been so nervous about this interview because, well, first of all, you're one of my guitar heroes, right? You know,
Oh, man.
back in the day, I think all of this, like what you're seeing right here, I think it's indirectly thanks to you.
Oh, wow.
Because back in the day, during the 90s, you know, I bought the Rock Discipline DVD, the VHS, sorry.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you made me practice my guitar. And before that, I was just trying to, you know, learn Pantera songs and random stuff. And then I looked into 7-strings and all that. And Dream Theater was the band. And I started, I started listening to Falling into Infinity, actually. That's where I joined on. And I went to that show in Stockholm where you played. And
cool.
I also got that VHS. And I think just because of that VHS alone, you know, I was practicing hours a day and, you know, worked up my low level, so to say, to a certain point where I can actually make a living out of music today. So
That's awesome.
thank you so much for that.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for that awesome introduction. That's a great story. And you have a beautiful setup there. That looks amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is what I'm
Really
doing for a
nice.
living, right? So this is my YouTube quarters, I would say, where I, you know, chug my metal amplifiers and do random stupid shit. Usually
Yeah.
I do these interviews in person, usually, but
Right.
obviously because of COVID and you're not on tour, this is the way. I would rather to actually have you here to talk to you in person, but this is the best for right now. And maybe we can have
Exactly.
another interview next time you roll through Sweden and Stockholm.
Absolutely. I'd love to stop by. And I wanted to thank you for having me on this and congratulate you too, man. You're doing so well. And I watch your videos. They're awesome. You know, honestly, if I ever want to really check out like some piece of gear that I don't physically have, I'll immediately see if Ola did a review. Because
shit.
you're like really on it. You're really entertaining. You're hysterical. You're so funny, but you get down to the, to the nitty gritty, and the way that you're doing it, the way that you record it, you could really hear the sound quality of whether, you know, if you're checking out a pedal or an amp or anything like that. And just wanted to congratulate you on your success. And you play great, man. Playing some crazy stuff there.
Thank you
Making
so
me
much.
want to go revisit Rock Discipline. What the hell?
Thank you so much. I'm about to cry. I mean, I can't believe you said that. Sorry.
Oh,
But that
absolutely.
made my day. Thank you so much. I want to show you something from so I went to the Falling into Infinity tour. I think that was 97. And then in 1999, just before you released Scenes from a Memory, you had a clinic in Finland
Oh,
where
okay.
where I went there and I bought a P2 Ibanez from the
Gotcha.
store that was holding that. And the cool thing, the guys at the store, they were just really nice and like, okay, you know, my dad knew the people at that store, and they were like, you know, we should do something cool and, you know, let John sign a poster. And I still have that poster here.
Oh, how cool is
And,
that?
and the cool thing is
That's
that
awesome.
it says to Englund Jr. because, you know, they didn't remember my name.
Oh, that's funny.
So, but I thought it was a lot of fun. After the clinic, I went up and you signed my CDs and all that. So I
Yeah.
have your signature, but I just, you know, this is special because that's Englund Jr. And
England Jr.
Yeah.
That could have been your stage name.
it should have been. Probably. Exactly.
I noticed I have my coffee, but I don't see where's your coffee?
You know, it's 6:30 p.m. I don't drink coffee
gotcha.
after 3 o'clock, but thank you.
I got you.
I appreciate it. I have to send a cup to you. So, John, Terminal Velocity
Yes.
is the new album. You've released a single, Terminal Velocity. Very uppity, very, very happy, I must say. And it makes me very happy to listen to it as well. It's very... Well, first of all, Mike Portnoy is playing drums on the whole album, right?
Yes.
And I think when I heard it, when you released the single, it was just such a... It just made me so happy to... I mean, I speak for a lot of people, I think, when, you know, a lot of people had probably sort of waited maybe for you to do something again you and Mike
Sure.
Portnoy at some level at least. And now what it's been like 10 years.
Yeah.
And how is it? I mean, what was the response to the single, and how has it been recording again with Mike?
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that. And the response that you just kind of described has been, I think, the overwhelming response. Really, is that people are really happy about it.
Yeah.
That was the. I. It's funny. You know how things are online with social media and the different outlets that we put music and videos out, and you try not to get sucked too much into the comment section.
Yes.
However, I do like to kind of scan that, and what I saw was a lot of what you just described. Just people very happy. Not only that Mike and I were doing something musically together, which was the main comments were mostly that, but just that, they thought the song, like you said, was very positive and uplifting.
Yeah.
And I love that. I wanted to, like with my solo music, I want it to be something that you look forward to listening to, and that, I don't know, could enhance your mood when you're doing something. It's like you go into the gym, you're going for a drive, you're going to the beach, whatever you do.
That's
in
exactly
Sweden.
a very good descriptive point. Like when you like car music, something when
Yes.
you go for a drive,
Exactly.
and just chill out. It's a perfect description.
I'm gonna put this on because it's going to elevate my mood. The last thing I wanted to do was make some kind of depressing, dark, pandemic-themed thing.
Right.
That's not what I'm about as a guitar player. And it was really great for me to have Mike play on the record. I haven't done anything musically with him since he left Dream Theater, like you said, over 10 years ago. And it was really just fun because, it's different when you're in a band with somebody. We grew up together. Yep. We met when we were 18, and you're in business together. It's different than when it's like fast forward. Now it's like my friend is playing like drums on my album,
Right.
It was so easygoing and so cool. And he was able to come to my studio, despite the pandemic, situation on the East Coast and in the U.S. It was safe for him to come to the studio. He doesn't live that far from me, and he spent a week, and we had fun, and he did a killer job. And these songs take a lot of different skills, I think, as a drummer. Some are uplifting and happy, some are metal, some take double bass chops, some you got to do shuffle, some are blues, some there's Latin feel. Awesome. And it's just testament to Mike's playing. He knows how to do all that stuff, and he came in totally easygoing, did it. We had fun, and really happy that he did it.
Yeah, it's funny because, I mean, you can hear right away when it's Mike. Mm-hmm. Like it's even if Mike Mangini is an excellent drummer. Mike Portnoy had, what I describe like even like in progressive metal, for instance. There's a lot of stress on it actually being, almost player perfect, right? But
sure,
Mike P, always thought he had a lot of metal groove happening in all of the Dream Theater albums. Like there's just something that was really, really grooving, and it was just, you can instantly hear that it was Mike Portnoy playing.
Oh, definitely.
And it's fun to listen to this because you hear it's him again, and it's you playing to him. With this groove. So it's I mean, even if you're not brothers, it's almost like you're brothers because you grew up together and you started writing music together. And exactly. It was that's also with that uplifting sound. It was just, everything was just, it's almost like an orgasm in a way because, everything kind of falls into place a little bit.
And it does. And, just to give you some perspective too, which maybe this makes it more interesting or, more mysterious, is that I wrote the album. I started in March. I wrote the album and recorded all of the final guitars in Pro Tools sessions, 2 clicks exact. Did some drum programming, played bass.
Okay.
My engineer Jimmy T did most of the programming. He's really good at that, and he's also a bass player. So we take, the bass playing responsibilities here and there, always knowing that we would replace the drums and the bass, but after 2 months, the songs were done. They were completed. Yep. They sounded great. Guitars were final. My concern was, when I asked Mike to do this, And he said it to me. He's like, "Do you want me to play exactly what you programmed?" And I was like, "No, I want you to do your thing," because he said it's not really the kind of drummer I am. And I know what he means. It's like he plays in a way that's very instinctual and groove oriented, and like he likes to, he'll do like 2 takes of the song and be like, "Yeah, I think we're good." He likes to do things off the cuff unless it's some sort of technical part that I really wanted him to play exactly what I was thinking. We would spend more time with that. But my point is that he played to pre-recorded tracked guitars to a click without any ebb and flow of tempo that might naturally happen if you're playing together. Yet somehow it sounds like we're totally playing together.
Oh, so you didn't actually re-record the guitars to the new drums?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Wow.
And I was a little worried about that because I'm like,
that's you don't double the effort. You have to record the guitars twice.
Right, otherwise. Exactly. I'm like, the guitars aren't moving. Like, you need to play to that. So I guess the risk is that the drums could end up sounding too drum machine-y, if that's a word. But Mike made it sound really natural. And like you said, there's a nostalgic sense to the sound of us playing together. And I felt it too. As soon as he started playing and, played the first Mike Portnoy drum fill, I'm like, that's
always the snare kick combination.
Snare sounded like his snare, and we were smiling. So he did that, and then Dave LaRue, who is just phenomenal bass player and musician. At that point, he was actually recording remotely, but we would send him the finished drum tracks, and so he would, track the bass, and then we'd have conversations. Hey, Mike just did this cool fill at the end of this guitar run. Can you maybe change that to like a triplet thing or whatever it is? And so the end result, I think, is, with the record, it just sounds like we're all actually jamming and playing together, even though that never actually happened. So I was happy that was the end result.
That's really cool. So, you are a producer. Did you? Yeah. Obviously, it seems like from the video. There's clips in the video of you sitting recording in what looks like almost like a room in your house, sitting with your amplifier, and plug it in. What is the signal path when you sit for something like this, and not talking about Dream Theater where you do go to a studio and record, like for this, for instance, and with the pandemic happening, did you go on a simpler route, like hooking up a DI signal, or what was the process? What's the signal path for you to sit and record?
Well, you can't tell from my background right now, but I'm actually at the Dream Theater headquarters.
Oh, okay.
And so we have I'm actually in our lounge. I don't know if you can, let's see, is there anything that would tell that it was Dream Theater Lounge? There's a little picture there. There's my guitar. But we have like a fully functional recording studio here.
Okay.
Live room, storage lounge, everything. It's like our Elks Club, our guys club.
Right. So do you record? Do you record a DI, or do you record using your amplifier and then and like a capture or something like that? What is the process? Do you record DI?
Yeah, I do. So it's both. So we were set up as I would for a Dream Theater recording. So my Ernie Ball Music Man Majesty directly into my JP2C boogie head into a 4x12 that's fully mic'd in the live room, and we're capturing the DI at the same time. I'm monitoring while listening to the mic'd sound, but we're capturing the DI, and it's very simple as far as the signal flow, and the microphones are going to some great Rupert Neve preamps and into Pro Tools. So it's a fully, even though it looks like I'm kind of sitting in a room that's maybe in my house,
right?
That was actually part of the control room where I was.
Gotcha.
The good thing about capturing the DI, as is that as the record goes on, we start adding parts, you have the ability to reamp right then and there.
Of course.
Which we did several times, just adjust, the sound on the amplifier, reamp it, and it comes in really, really handy.
Yeah. And since you're even, you're going to use the amp on the album.
Yeah.
So, then it's easier to just hear how it's going to sound on the album, even if you're going to reamp it later with the same amplifier in different cabinets or whatever.
Exactly. I guess the only difference is that, this was the first time I recorded all the guitars first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, as I was writing the song, like take Terminal Velocity, the song, that was like a little riff that I had that I thought was cool. I was like, that would be a good intro to a song. And I literally started playing that, set a tempo in the DAW and got going. And then, programmed some drums, played bass, and like that was the first part, and then started building as I was going. But I'm really just sort of playing to myself, and the tone, the guitar tone, it doesn't really have a reference as to what the drum sound is or anything yet, So that's the only difference there, and a little bit of a challenge. But I don't know, man, you've demoed and played enough gear to know a great guitar sound when you hear it, and whether or not it's going to work when the real drums are there. So, it's not like we had to completely shift gears or anything.
Right. I actually have an amplifier on order, JP2.
You do?
So,
all right.
So I need some tips, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I wanted to be able to, like the absolute best chugging sound. How do I achieve that on the JP2? I have a Mark IIc Plus and, other like Tremoverbs and Roadsters and all that. So I know about how they work. And, I've owned several Marks and stuff like that. But on the JP2, what do I need to do to make it, absolutely chug and melt faces?
Right. Well, there's a couple of things you're going to want to look at. One of the really powerful kind of controls on that amp is the presence control.
Okay.
So that for boogies, the presence control is after the power section. It's very powerful. It can really open up the high end and give you that chuggy sound you're looking for. On my amp, it has two different settings for that. So it's a pull pot. When it is pushed in, when it's normal, it's sort of this new presence control that we stumbled upon almost as a happy accident. Where the frequency range is a little bit lower, so you could run it higher. So if you have it like that, you can set it to like 2 o'clock or whatever, and you'll have this really big open sound. If you pull that control, it goes back to the classic, like a Mark IIc Plus would be, or a Mark IV, where it's really high end right away. Like you can only crank it to like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. Right? So that's something to watch out for. I would experiment with that.
That's cool.
The other thing is the amp has something called shred, which is, kind of a cheeky way that we called this one thing where I thought that, since I play 7-string guitar, and since sometimes I down tune, sometimes you want a little bit more clarity with the lower note. So we engaged a certain thing. Randall Smith had this thing where the upper mid harmonic distortion would be sort of emphasized.
Okay.
And a little bit of the low end would come out. So that's something you might want to look at too. The thing is, it's going to add gain, so you probably have to bring the gain down on the amp if you use the shred feature.
Okay.
And then the other thing about boogies is, since there is so much gain, the bass control is super, super important.
Yeah.
If you run that where you might, on a typical amplifier, it might get flubby.
Right.
Just because it's interacting with the gain. So on boogies, on Mark series boogies, you have to turn that bass control fairly low.
Yes.
Or even off. I remember the old Metallica settings, like the bass control was off.
Yes.
Or it was like on one. Yeah. And then the last thing I'll say is the crucial ingredient, and the cool thing about my signature amp is that there's actually 2 graphic EQs.
Yes.
The graphic EQ on a Mark series amp is crucial.
Yes.
Like that's what shapes the whole thing.
Because the preamp, you have to dial down the bass. It's pre-gain basically, so you have to have that post EQ.
Exactly. So then you could bring that low end back in to get that thick chugging sound. Obviously like pull the mids, and you could experiment with the top end faders like the 6600. So you'll see. But those are your most powerful knobs there. And the other one I would say probably too is the treble, because on Mark series amps, the treble isn't only high end; it's actually gain.
Yes,
As
exactly.
well as yeah. So if you're feeling it feels a little dry or not like juicy enough, just if you start to bring that treble up, you're gonna get what you're missing.
Right.
So you sound like somebody that has a lot of experience with this type of stuff. So I might not be telling you anything you don't already know, but
It's good to have a guideline. I mean, I always go for 7-string, try it out. Low end chug. That's all I can do. So it's that's important to me that the app delivers that, and I know the app delivers that because I've seen video of you playing that, and I also saw the show in Stockholm this spring, just before the pandemic, at Circus. And was that the JP2? Like, are you using JP2 for both lead and rhythm?
Yes.
So
exactly.
So with the 2 post EQs, can you use the same amplifier, or are you still using several heads with you?
So. All right. So the way that I'm doing it,
because the tone was amazing. That's okay. That's what I wanted to say. The tone. I mean, the lead tone has always been amazing with you. And I brought a friend, and like every time, and for every Dream Theater show I've been to, it's always like, okay, this was also seen from memory, which means a lot to me. I listen a shit ton to that album, and I'm getting goosebumps to the point of almost crying. And the lead tone is just perfect, man. I just want to say that it's perfect.
Thank you.
It makes me envious and almost pisses me off a little bit. It's that right. Good.
That's my goal, to piss off people.
Yes. That's why I'm crying, because I'm just so fucking jealous. No.
I wish I would have known you were there. It would have been nice to say hi. So
next time.
Next time for sure. So just to explain that, I mean, first of all, if you were just using the one head, the cool thing is that since it has 2 graphic EQs and 3 channels, you can assign the graphics to whatever channel you want. And that's what I'm doing. I have 3 separate sounds, so clean, and then the heavy sound and the lead sound. Just as an aside, by the way, I'd be really interested to check out your settings when you get it and you're going for that chug thing.
Yep.
Because you're really good at getting that out of pedals and amps and stuff, and you might stumble on to something that I'm not. That's not 100% in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, right.
That kind of vibe, and like when I watch your stuff, you're right on the money. So
thank you.
I'd be interested to see how you
will
set
it chug.
Yeah. And I'd love to see if it gets the OLA chug thumbs up, and if it does, definitely share the settings, because I'd love to see that.
That's cool. Something I wanted to. We already talked about Mike and you to get a liquid tension experiment.
Yeah.
Is that happening now?
I can't say, my friend.
Oh, shit.
I can't say.
Okay. Yeah, right. So it's going to happen. Perfect. So we can we can move on. Now, okay, I just heard something, and I'm keeping my hopes up, you say.
Okay.
But, so I have, a couple of stupid questions that I wanted to take with you. You've been touring for a long, long while, and you have a catalog that's absolutely immense.
Yeah.
And I'm in a touring band as well, and when we're not playing, I forget every song and every solo. And we're playing thrash metal, and I'm not playing a lot of solos, but I do play leads. How is it possible? Maybe this sounds dumb, but I have, like, how do you even go by, okay, let's do a 20-year anniversary of Scenes from Memory right here.
Right.
Is that do you have that in the back of your head at all times, or is it really, there's just so much music that you've written and created. Like, how is it possible for you to have a gig of 3 hours and just remember everything?
Right. Well, first of all, it's not dumb at all for you to bring that up. I actually thank you for bringing that up, because it's not something that anybody normally thinks about.
No.
Especially when they go to a concert and see somebody play. It's like you just assume that they know how to play that way.
But songs. Exactly.
Yeah, the way. But I don't know how to play my song. No, the way that it works is, okay, we're going to do this album, and then Panic Attack begins, and then I probably hem and haw, with my wife about it for about 2 weeks. I got to practice these songs. I don't know what I'm going to do. I got, how am I going to remember this? Blah blah blah. And then, it's just like a big cloud in my head of like I have no idea how this stuff goes. And then I'll sit down and start to get to work and remember, and I'm relearning my songs. Now some of it comes right back. Some of it I'm like, what the hell was I thinking?
Do you need to check the tab books?
I don't check the tab books. I have, if I'm lucky, I have most of the ISO tracks.
Yes, okay.
From the albums, which is really, really helpful. But even with that, sometimes something goes by, if it was improvised or whatever, and I don't know exactly how I played it, so I do my best to learn it. But it's literally, it's funny that you bring it up. It's like a pet peeve of mine. I like hate the process. I wish I was just a robot, like I just remembered how to play everything.
Right, because that's how it seems at some point.
And then once I actually remember everything and relearn it, then you have to practice it all, because it's one thing to play that kind of stuff in the studio, but now when you're standing live on stage, that's the marathon. So you have to, that's when the shedding comes in, and just sitting there with a metronome. Like I'll make a list. What I do is, maybe this is helpful to answer the question. I'll list the set of all the songs, and then I'll have bullet points as to what are the hard parts in it that I really need to practice.
Right.
And then I'll just set a timer, and I'll do like 10 minutes on each and go through. Once I get to that point, then I'll actually practice the whole set. Like I'll play along to the songs and as if, because that's the stamina part.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, and then, hopefully by the time we do our first rehearsal, then I know everything and I can play it fairly well. But it's a process, man. I appreciate you bringing that up. Like I said, I wish I just knew at any given time, all of my music and could play it all.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
be nice.
so do you have a couple of spots in the set where you're like, okay, shit, this really fucked up part is just about to come? Like,
oh yeah.
Like, oh shit, okay, let's hope for the best, sort of.
Yes, totally. So let's see what happens.
Do you have one that you can mention, like a specific song or?
Well, you mentioned that you saw that tour and you saw Scenes from a Memory. That came out in '99. Yeah. It was, there's some challenging stuff on that. Play a song like Beyond This Life.
Yep.
There's some wacky. It's a combination of things. Actually, the guitar solo in that song is a lot of fun for me to play because it's a wah solo. It's really aggressive. It's mostly improvised, so it kind of has a cool vibe. There's this part we called like the Zappa section.
Yes.
Which is this unison thing that me and Jordan play. That's, first of all, the tempo is like impossible. And the line is like, down, down, it's like totally syncopated and bizarre. So that's one of those, okay, let's see what happens parts.
All wheels are coming off.
Right. And then after that, there's like a really fast unison. It's not that the pattern is difficult. It's the speed is difficult.
Yes.
So it's like a super fast picking 16th note part. So and they happen like kind of back to back, that whole section. So that would be a song where I'm kind of like, all right, time to focus, relax, let's get this done. And there's always tomorrow.
Yeah, right. So do you, like, with this whole catalog that you have, I mean, you almost make double albums. There's at least full 60 minutes worth of music on every album. Like, how do you feel that you're running out, like, of music?
Right.
I mean, at this point, you've been doing it for so long, and Dream Theater has so many albums, and you've been a part of so many different other albums as well. Like, I mean, usually when I sit and write something, a lot of people are like, oh, that sounds like John Petrucci. And it's like, okay, well, he already probably did it because, he already has like, 30 or 40 hours worth of music. Are you feeling that you're kind of emptied out?
Running out of ideas? You might think that, like you said. I mean, Dream Theater, we've been a band for 35 years. I've been playing guitar for a long time. You know what, Ola? When I sit down and start playing and writing things, just they happen and they come up. My solo album, I was by myself.
Yeah.
There's no other band member to bounce ideas off and have that collective kind of experience with. And you could get in danger of like, where do I take this? Where do I go next? But it didn't happen. And the once the song starts to evolve, it kind of starts to write itself and map out in a way that, makes sense organically.
Yeah.
And then when I'm not in that situation, when I'm playing with the guys in Dream Theater, I mean, they're so talented. There's never a shortage of ideas.
Right.
We joke about this all the time. We're like, oh, there's only 12 notes. Like, how many different permutations could you possibly do? But it keeps happening.
Yeah.
So, I don't feel dried up yet.
That's good to hear. I think a lot of people need to hear that as well.
Yeah. It's actually fun. I welcome, it's like I look forward to the next creative experience. It
cool.
just never turns off.
Are you feeling right now with the pandemic that you're, writing more music right now? Obviously, because you're locked at home, and I mean, what can you do, right?
Sure. Well, I mean, yeah, definitely. And even Dream Theater, I mean, we're pivoting our whole schedule because we were supposed to be touring for the rest of the year, and we're not, as every band on the planet is experiencing as well. And so, we're going to get to work on a new album sooner than later.
Yeah.
We'll start this fall. So yeah, definitely, it's been a very creative year for sure.
Right.
Because normally that time would be filled up touring and traveling. I mean, between Dream Theater and things like G3 and stuff like that, I spent a lot of time on the road. So and that was my big excuse for not doing a solo album in 15 years. Is to have that big chunk of time.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I wanna talk a little bit about. I touched before regarding your lead tone. Your lead tone is amazing, but what I also wanted to say, and something that 16-year-old Ola back in 1997,
Englund Jr.
Englund Jr. Exactly, this guy. So what I was, back then, and I think still to this day, I mean, a lot of people usually refer to you like you're a shred god for a lot of people, or people call you that at least. But I don't think you get enough credit for the amount of emotion that is in your solo and lead playing. And, usually people bring you up as an example for someone who plays really technical. But, I always loved your playing more for, the emotion of your side. Like, I said I started listening to with Falling Into Infinity. And I think to this day, that is probably my favorite album. Obviously, because it's the first album. But do you feel like... where does that all emotion come from? I mean, it's insane how you can have, with the thing with you having so much music and such a catalog, this emotion is it's so good, and I think it's to the point that it's influenced my playing and my songs so much that it's like, where does it come from?
Right. Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it, and it's definitely always been a big part of my playing style.
Yeah.
I always liked players that played like that. Whether it was Neil Schon or Gary Moore or David Gilmour. As much as playing in the shred style is fun and challenging, and it's like the same thrill as driving a fast car. It's not everything.
Yeah.
There's electric guitar. I always thought was like the perfect expressive instrument.
Yeah.
Especially when you're playing through, distortion. I mean, you could make it like really sound as vocal as you want. And I don't know if it's credited to my Italian heritage. There's something in there that, like, I'm a sucker for a good melody. Like, I don't care if it's Barry Manilow or Disney or John Williams or a pop song or a metal song. Like, it's so important for me. And if I ever have the opportunity to do that in my music, I take advantage of it. Yeah. And it's always been an element of my writing style and my playing style. And, in the case of like instrumental guitar music, we're talking about Terminal Velocity, and I know a lot of people haven't heard it yet. Obviously, it's not out yet, the album, but you're going to hear a lot of that. And for me, it's important to keep the songs like songs. You know, that they're not just exercises in ability
Yes.
or, you know, guitar gymnastics. Those moments do happen, and they're fun when they happen, and they're fun to listen to and fun to play. But during a chorus of a song where you're going to hear riffs, you're going to hear melody, you're going to hear themes, much like you do in the song Terminal Velocity that people have heard already. It just makes for more interesting music, you know? And I like to take advantage of the fact, like I said, that the guitar, the electric guitar, is probably the most expressive instrument, you know, other than a voice, that's somebody's voice.
Yes.
That's how I feel. I'm biased. Some people might say it's saxophone or something. I feel like it's electric guitar, you know, specifically.
For sure.
And so, it's just always been something I've been into and passionate about, for sure.
So your guitar right there, I think
Yes.
we're going to try and end on that. But show me that guitar. What is that?
Yeah, man. So this is my Ernie Ball Music Man Majesty guitar. You probably know this because you said you listened to Dream Theater for a while, but Majesty was the original name of Dream Theater.
Yes.
This was our logo. When we were called Majesty, we had like an M kind of vibe, so that's that. And that's been the Dream Theater logo forever.
Yeah.
So this guitar is aptly called a Majesty. That's the Majesty symbol. Anyway, it's Ernie Ball Music Band signature. It's a neck through. You can see on the back.
Oh, nice.
This was the first neck through we did.
Oh, okay.
And this particular color is just one of my favorites of all time. It's called Purple Nebula. It looks like a nebula. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful figured maple top, mahogany neck through.
Are those your new pickups as well there?
Yeah,
The
thank you for
Dreamcatcher?
mentioning. So, yeah, these are DiMarzio. I've always played DiMarzio pickups. By the way, 20 years with Ernie Ball Music Man, believe it or not, which is...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's right. Now that you mention it.
Right?
It was just like, for me, it's like yesterday. Because, you
Right,
know, I
exactly.
had two JPMs. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
In fact,
you've been
talking
longer
about-
with Ernie Ball than Ibanez.
Yeah,
a lot longer,
absolutely.
actually.
Yeah, a lot longer. In fact, you know, you mentioned 99 and when Scenes came out, and that first, the live Scenes from New York, I'm playing a Music Man.
That's right.
Yeah. So, these are the signature DiMarzio pickups, Rainmaker, Dreamcatcher, or I should say Dreamcatcher in the bridge, Rainmaker in the neck. These guitars, they kind of like do everything I need them to do. They're very live performance based, so it has a piezo system.
Yep.
So if I need to change to an acoustic sound, it's just right over there with that top switch. It has a 20 dB boost on the volume control.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like just having a clean boost pedal on the guitar.
Right.
And all you got to do is punch it like that. It pops up. Coil tap on the tone control. And then also on the back, you can control the piezo EQ and the amount of boost.
Right.
So it's just like the ultimate performance machine.
I think, I
Yeah.
think with the Ernie Ball, your guitars with Ernie Ball, it seems that
Yeah.
you really created your guitar.
Right.
With those, I remember you're always been talking about just perfecting the guitar for you.
Yes.
And just it's really just congratulations to the whole line. I mean I know it's
Thank
a
you.
big deal, and I probably one of the I guess Steve Vai is probably the most selling signature guitar ever or signature guitarist, but I guess you're like second run or something like that. I mean I see him everywhere, and I should have one for when I try that JP2C.
You should have one.
I should have one actually.
Well, according to an article in Forbes magazine, Brian Ball, the CEO of Ernie Ball, said that the JP signature guitar is the second best-selling signature guitar, only behind a Les Paul.
Shit! Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
So that's what I'm staying with. What I'm sticking with.
Damn. Yeah, that's some feature. Damn.
That
really
is, yeah.
good.
So that kind of gives you an idea as to the success that we've had, and it's definitely about taking chances, because you talked about building my own guitar. The body shape of the Majesty in this case is something that's different than anything else out there. It's not like it looks like we took something stock and just added some features. I mean, this is from the ground up. So yeah, the Ernie Ball Music Man family, the Ball family. They are like, those guys are all geniuses. They're amazing artists and people. And yeah, like I said, 20 years. What an amazing relationship that's been.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
John, thank you so much. I also want to say thank you to the Dream Theater Fanclub because of them, they managed to get me in contact with you. They were watching my Sunday with Ola show, and
Nice.
where I said,
Yes,
like, you know,
right.
how the hell do I get in contact with John? And they saw it and they reached out. So thank you so much for making this happen. And
Yes, thank you.
I hope that we can do this in person next time, and that maybe I get to play a real Majesty guitar at some point. And,
Absolutely.
I've
Yeah.
tried a Sterling one. I want to try the real deal.
Well, we'll have to make that happen for sure.
Yes.
We'll get together. We'll bring one in. And again, congrats on your success, man.
Thank you
All the
so
best
much.
with it. Continue
you so
along. Send me your settings when you get the amp. I want the Ola Chug settings.
I won't. I'll just
You
make
won't.
a
No,
really
that's
good
it.
setting, and you know. Just,
Yeah, I'm cut off.
John, thank you so much. See ya.
Got it, man. Thank you.